Oh,
Welcome to Jets Rewind. I'm Marty Schupak. I'm joined by Ralph Schrager, my very close friends for, I guess, over what, Ralph, 65 years?
yeah, let's not
Maybe.
get too close though.
Right. And we're waiting for Ray Clifford will become on momentarily. It'll give me a little bit of time just to go over some house cleaning. Just so Jets fans know, today, who did not practice, AVT has a bad ankle. Fotu has a bad knee, did not practice. Davis has a concussion. Ralph, how's that?
Yeah, I remember that play.
And Adams has a hamstring. It just happened to pop up.
We have Jamal Adams on the team. Wow,
No, no.
he's
And
probably got one anyway though.
yeah. And some other news which isn't good. Aaron Rodgers, he had limited practice. He has a knee, ankle injury, and a hamstring injury, so he's limited. And I think that what Ralph and Ray said a few weeks ago, it was going to come to fruition that I doubt he's going to finish the season the way it's going. But
Well, if the season is as bad as it looks, he'll opt out anyway.
right, right. Couple of things. Something somebody sent me. Again, this is not confirmed. This is interesting. Apparently, the Jets fans, season ticket holders, got their bill for 2025, and the season tickets went up 23.2%. Now, that's interesting because that's on top of the increase in 2024. That was 24%. And that's on top of an increase in 2023, which was 13%. So I find that pretty interesting. Now, a couple of things outside of the Jets, as I see legendary Ray Clifford is coming on in a minute. He'll be right on. The Las Vegas Raiders are now. Hey Ray, how you doing?
Hey,
Good to see you. I'm just going over some house cleaning. Came at a good time. The Las Vegas Raiders signed quarterback Desmond Ritter this morning. The Tennessee Titans are sending wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this has not been finalized. They are trying to finalize it. And another interesting item, and then we'll get right to the Jets. I'm going to have Ralph, Ray, and myself give a little summary of the state of the Jets right now at 2-5. But Ray, you're going to love this because you think in terms of the offense. The fourth straight week, the AFC Offensive Player of the Game was from the Baltimore Ravens. In week four
Wow.
was Derrick Henry. Week five, Lamar Jackson. Week six, Derrick Henry. Week seven, Lamar Jackson. So that's something that we haven't seen forever, Ray. That's an offense.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
let's get to the news at hand. The Jets are 2-5, and Jet fans are reeling, and I am reeling. I am incredibly upset, and I just want everyone's reaction. We'll start with Ralph. And then we'll go to Ray and then myself. Ralph, your reaction to the state of the Jets right now at 2-5 this season.
Well, I think it can be summed up by a text I got from one of our super fans, Matt Lewis, during the Pittsburgh game, where he said he thinks the Jets should come up with their own version of the terrible towels. At the next home game, everyone should wave white flags because, frankly, at 2-5, if you're the Baltimore Ravens, you could make the playoffs. If you're the New York Jets, you can't make the playoffs. I know people say, well, the Jets have really good personnel. Well, if that's the case, then their coaching is horrible. And if their coaching is good, then their personnel is horrible. The quarterback we have now is mediocre. Ironically, for the last 2 years, we said all we need is a mediocre quarterback with our great defense. Now, we got our mediocre quarterback, but our defense is not good anymore. So, in typical Jet fashion, I mean, the second half of that Pittsburgh game basically was a condensed version of 50 years of absurd frustration with this team. And yeah, I've given up on them for this year.
Okay, and Ray, you know what that means? That means we might lose Ralph, and he'll go incognito. He'll go out to Montana or something
Well,
and live
if
a
Well,
I
I
little.
have to go earn extra money to pay for the increase in the ticket prices.
Ray, your thoughts on the the 2-5 Jets right now with their expectations and everything?
Well, I think Pittsburgh was not the game that bothered me as much as the other three before it of their 4-game losing streak. This team should be just the opposite. They should be 5-2 at the worst. But we find ways, and it's and it falls on Rodgers too, and I think it falls some on the coaching, and I think it falls some on the fact that we're not the same defense we were last year or the year before. The defensive line is not nearly as good. We were getting pressure last year with 4 guys, which allowed the defense to do a lot more stuff as far as defending the pass. We aren't even getting pressure with 6 guys now, it seems like. If we send somebody, it doesn't seem like we're getting enough pressure or we're not finishing the play. But, I'm not going to give up on the season, but I'm not feeling like I don't feel like it's over yet. If they get on a run, they could at least get in the mix to get in the playoffs, but I'm not counting on it. But the schedule does set up fairly well for that to happen if they were to, maybe Hassan Reddick will make a difference for the defense, and it'll kind of bring it back to what it was the last 2 years. So I just want to, if we lose a couple more games that we shouldn't, we're done.
Yeah, but what games? There's no games that we shouldn't win. I mean, every game is a game we can lose. We're not a team that should be winning games anymore.
What I'm looking at is when I look at the schedule, I look at Houston, Buffalo, and Seattle as our the worst 3. Arizona can be tough because it's out there, and if Kyler Murray's running all over the place, he can be a problem. But a lot of these games are teams that are easily, beatable. Not that we're playing well enough to beat them, but I don't see anybody other than those 3 that I feel like we can't beat. The other 3, to me, it would be an upset. But if we did win those games other than those 3, we'd be 10-7, I believe, and that, or maybe 10-7.
No, 9-8.
It'd be 9-8.
Yeah,
9-8. There and 3 over the last 2 years, 3 or 4 teams made it at 9-8, probably based on either they had a lousy division in at least one case and they won their division, or they probably won it on tiebreakers. But so it could come down to that. But it's not likely. I'm not saying that I really believe that that's going to happen, but I'm not giving up yet.
Right. Okay, Ray, you got a little ahead on the agenda. Did you see the mini agenda, Ray, I sent?
No.
Okay, good. You might want to look at it while I go. All right.
I was just pulling it up.
But
hey, Ray showed up. That's enough, right?
Remember Woody Allen said 90% of life is showing up. So we're glad to have him.
Well, apparently the Jets feel that way too because they certainly don't play.
But anyway, this has been one of the most frustrating seasons just because, as Ralph said, we kept saying with the Jets roster like last year, all we needed was average quarterback play. We said it like throughout the whole year. The Jets beat writers wrote about it. And to come in and to see what we've seen, the slop, it's just been nuts. And I'll repeat what Ralph said a few weeks ago. And actually, he was right on the money that this team will go as far as the offensive line takes them. And they don't have any sort of offensive line at all. And then I hear our interim coach, he gets asked a question in a press conference after the game 2 weeks ago about the play of Tyron Smith. And he says he thinks he's playing some good football. And I don't know what he's watching. And this guy has been just like ridiculous. I don't know if you guys saw, I sent you a Tyron Smith. Did you see that, Ray?
Yeah, I know. That was funny.
Yeah.
And if I was to tell you, Ray, he just fanned. The defensive lineman didn't even touch him. He went out and just blocked the air. But besides that and the stupid penalties and everything else, the Jets are definitely going to be in line. I mean, unless there's a miraculous turnaround, there's going to be a whole new coach next year. And also, Ralph said he thinks the coaching staff stinks, and I'm coming across that way. Even my guy, the secondary coach, I'm not seeing anything really that they're doing anything better than Robert Saleh, head coach. So, listen, it's been incredibly frustrating. I turned off the game against Pittsburgh, and I texted both you guys because after the Rodgers interception, I turned to my wife and I said, "They're losing this game." And she said, "Are you giving up on them?" I said, "No, but you know what? I've invested like over 60 years of my life in this team, and I got to get up early. I'm not going to stay up for that. I'll just watch the tape." And then when I got up to use the restroom in the middle of the night and I went on my phone, I saw the score. I said, "I'm not watching the tape.
You don't watch the tape.
I can't do it. I just can't do it." So
That's not fair, Marty. If we get to watch it, you have to watch that second half.
now I will say something else. I'm going to end this on a good note, guys. You're going to love this. I called up. I don't gamble. I don't endorse gambling. Jets Rewind, as Ralph and Ray knows, we have refused advertisers that want to advertise in the show, gambling advertisers. I'm not saying we never will. You know, everybody has their price, but right now, we're not taking it. With that said, I called up a family member and I said, "You know what? Get me the odds, not of the Jets winning the Super Bowl, just making the Super Bowl." So he came back, and I guess he went to like one of these DraftKings or FanDuels, and he said, "Marty, it's 31 to 1 to make the Super Bowl, 55 to 1 to win the Super Bowl."
31 to 1, that's all?
That's it.
I think we're going to say 31,000 to 1.
I think you meant 31,000.
And this is October 23rd. We're recording this Wednesday at 1:21. Well, Ralph, you know, the smartest people in the world are in Las Vegas, so maybe they know something we don't. But the bottom line is, I said, you know, I started rolling some nickels. I said, put $10 down on them on the 31 to 1 odds, making the Super Bowl. And you're like this, Ray, because I was thinking back in June. I said, the New York Mets, they will never make the playoffs this year with that roster. I said, they are horrible. And I said, let me go against my emotions. So right now, I have a $10 bet that the Jets make the Super Bowl, and we'll see what happens with that. And from there, let's go to our predictions. The Jets have a bye week coming up in 4 weeks. But prior to that, and Ray touched upon the schedule, so I'm going to start with Ralph. They play at the Patriots Sunday. They're the following Thursday night. Oh, I hate those Thursday night games.
What are you talking about? It's the only good game the Jets played all year. Maybe that's their good luck charm.
They're hosting Texas. And C.J. Stroud, as you know, Ray, he's not having as good a year as last year.
Not surprised.
And then the week after that, they're at Arizona. Then they're home against the Colts. Then they have a bye week. So, Ralph, those 4 games, what do you think the Jets' record will be after those 4 games?
I think they'll split those games, so it'll be 4-7.
Okay. And Ray, how about you?
Well, despite what I was saying about they got a chance, I wouldn't be surprised if they split them as well. I think they can. I think that Texans will beat them, and I question the Arizona game. I think they can win the other 2.
They killed Texas last year, didn't they? Houston.
Yeah. They were getting all over Stroud in that game.
Yeah.
They haven't gotten near anybody hard.
I feel like you go the obvious games they're going to win, they lose, and the obvious games you think they'll lose, they'll win. I mean, they really should have won the Pittsburgh game. As crazy as it sounds at 37-15. That stupid interception. Rodgers has blown 3 straight games with bad interceptions. Marty never sees any of them because he just makes us torment. Marty, did you see the play Garrett Wilson made? Your favorite whipping boy?
I saw the replay. It bounced off his chest. And I saw Devontae Williams. Thank God somebody has some pride. He ran him down and he tackled him.
Adams.
Oh, I'm sorry, Devontae Adams. What did I say?
Williams,
yeah.
Wishful thinking. You're thinking Javonte Williams, but
But
Yeah,
he
well-
had some pride and he ran him
Well,
down.
that'll go fast when he plays with the Jets for a while.
Yeah, but
We'll suck the life out of that guy.
right. I want to ask you. I have a shout out, but before that, I wrote something down before, and I'll start with Ray. I'm starting to think that, and we have a lot of problems all over, but on defense, I'm I think Jamie and Sherwood plays better when CJ Mosley isn't in the lineup. Ray, am I seeing things, or is that? Have you noticed that?
I was trying to figure out if Mosley's in there and they're in there at the same time, who's running the defense? Who's calling the plays? Is it Mosley again?
I think it's Mosley. Ralph, do you know?
I'm sure it's Mosley. I
Yeah.
mean, do you remember the play when Pat Freiermuth caught a pass and Jamie and Sherwood? Pat Freiermuth is a big, lunking tight end. He's not fast. Jamie and Sherwood could not catch him. And this guy used to be a defensive back in college. I mean, that was the knock against him. He's really slow.
Actually, he was a safety, but that's
he was
okay.
a safety, yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny. Ray, Ralph had a great text at the beginning of the game, and I thought the exact same thing. Reed, our defensive, was it Reed? No, it was Eccles. Eccles missed the tackle twice on the same play.
Unbelievable. I
He
never
went up
saw
to
that
the
one.
He missed a tackle. I don't know if he got pushed down. I had the wherewithal to get up and pursue it again. He missed the tackle the second time.
Bounced off him without, he didn't wrap him up. That was unbelievable.
You can't make it up. And Ray, I know you had another commitment, but Ralph was making some disparaging remarks about you and Brandon.
I saw,
he had some game, boy. He had a bad game.
Well, I didn't see the second half. Ralph, you tell me. You're probably the only one. But in the first half, this guy who I guess they picked up from Philly, Jalen Mills, looked pretty active.
He was okay. I mean, I guess when you're still looking relative to the other players on the Jets, but he was actually playing some football out there, which is more than I could say for the other guys. What's his name? Who's doing the Chris Collinsworth was singing the praises, of course, of Sauce Gardner again. All these broadcasters don't watch every one of their games closely. They just read up on the guy and nobody even threw on Sauce Gardner 2 weeks ago, and it's true they don't throw on him. I don't know why, because all he does is get penalties. I would just throw it out there every time, and that guy's going to get a penalty half the time. It's really amazing.
Yeah, no, I agree. Very quickly, I want to do a shout out to a gentleman I met this week up in Berlin, Connecticut. Nick from Air Temp. I've done some business with them. He's an incredible Jets fan. He's a young guy. So, Nick, glad to have you as a listener. Now, Ralph, I'll start with you. Hassan Reddick reported. I hear different reports that Woody Johnson got involved, and that's why they ended up getting him in. I'm not sure how true that is. If it is true, it seems like, Joe Douglas is like a lame duck general manager. But I want to ask you, Ralph, Hassan Reddick, I put the number down 15.5 plays. Do you think it's going to be over or under against the Patriots?
I think it'll be over. And as far as Joe Douglas goes and Woody Johnson, Reddick was going to sign with them by November 5th, which is the trading deadline. There's no way he was going to let the Jets have control of him next year. So Woody might have speeded up the process a week or so, but I think it would have happened anyway. Obviously, losing his agent, dumping him, was kind of a wake-up call for Reddick. So he goes and gets Drew Rosenhaus, who probably reads in the riot act and says, you better sign something now quickly. So I think Woody helped a little. I'm sure he did with the Devontae Adams too. It's his money,
Right.
If he wants to throw it away. Someone said by getting Adams and Reddick, it was kind of the equivalent of buying a couple of new deck chairs for the Titanic. It's just
going under.
Yeah.
Ray, what's your thoughts? I put the number 15.5. Hassan Reddick over under for the number of plays.
Oh, I think he'll be well over that. I think he'll be at least in the 20s. I don't think they can afford not to have Monday, but I think he's been staying in good shape. I don't think I don't think it's something he's got to work himself into shape too much. I think he's been keeping keeping himself fit. So I think he can easily go more than that.
All right, Ray, I'll start with you. Do you think there's any chance that they finally activate Malachi Corley and maybe deactivate Xavier Gibson? I mean, he's looked shaky on some of those punts. What's your feeling, Ray?
Some of them.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
I'm getting more nervous every time he's back there. But I mean, he isn't killing us though at this point. Even though he scares me, he hasn't done anything that really killed us. But so if they think it might be a spark, I don't know. I guess they could. I'd like I'd like him to start seeing if some of these guys can do anything to help, and just get some movement. I mean, we've had better weeks offensively here in the past couple of weeks, but stupid mistakes are what's costing us, not the offense. And Teron Smith, who they don't put a tight end over there to help him ever.
Well, they had to put one on the other side for C.J. Watt. So
that's true.
They let Tyrone fly in the wind. Yeah,
that's true.
Right. And let me, okay, Ralph, did I ask you the same question?
No. Which was the question?
What was the question I just asked? Oh, yeah, about Malachi Corley.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you something, Marty. You were singing the praises of me suggesting that Isaiah Davis get more kickoffs. I do not want that guy returning kickoffs. He is slow, and he slipped down once. He looked pathetic. I would rather put him on, not dress him and dress Corley. Give him a shot at it. Yes.
Ralph, I just want to interrupt you for a second, too. You mentioned about slipping. You sent me a very good text about Will McDonald seems to be slipping on almost every play. And I was watching. You're 100% right. What's the deal with that?
I don't know. When the quarterback breaks out and you start chasing him, it's like he slips. If he doesn't slip, he'll catch him half the time. He's so quick. But I don't know if they're wearing the right footwear or maybe somebody's spraying olive oil on the bottoms of their shoes. Right. They're the Jets. What can you say?
Yeah, but I interrupt you with you want to see Malachi Corley?
I do. I want to not dress Isaiah Davis. He was awful. Just embarrassing.
Yeah, he was bad. It's just incredible. We can't get any goddamn consistency anywhere.
By the way, that whole kickoff thing is a joke. They need to change it if they really want to get serious. If that ball goes in the end zone, put it at the 40. Then they'll start chipping it because this is just malarkey. Nobody cares about the 30-yard line. It's a stupid play. Yeah.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Marty's quick trivia. It's not really a Jet trivia, but I heard it. Somebody sent it during the week. I think you both like this. Okay. Who is the only walk-on player in college to win the Heisman Trophy?
Oh, wow. How far back are we going?
That's going to be the last 20 years, 15, 20.
Baker Mayfield.
Ray?
I can't think of.
Okay, that's all right. Ralph's right. Baker Mayfield. He was a walk-on at Texas Tech
and Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, but then they gave him a scholarship. So that was the trivia question.
I'd say winning the Heisman.
Did he walk on at Oklahoma, or did he just transfer?
He just showed up there. I think
he showed up.
Hey, I'm here.
And he sat out a year, and then he was given a scholarship. But I think that's a very good question. And
it is, yeah. Especially because I got the answer.
Ray and I both agree that he should be a Jet right now, but that's for another day. I want to talk about the state, and we touched upon it, the offensive line, because a number of weeks ago I had said that I think there's going to be a trend where teams are going to be carrying more and more offensive linemen at the expense of other positions on the field. And I really believe that. I had said that instead of 8 or 9, they're going to be carrying like 9, 10, or 11. And I
interrupt you for a second. What happened with Xavier Newman? See,
I did see it. I heard he got hurt. I'm not.
No, I saw him get hurt. I'm just saying, have we heard anything about it?
I heard his limbs are. He
has movement.
He has movement, but nothing beyond that, huh?
Yeah, let me see.
Did he get hurt in practice or in a game?
No, it was during the game. He got hit. It was in a collision. And
it's a neck injury.
Yeah, they stopped the game quite a while while he wasn't even on the field. He was on the sidelines because they had to put him on the board and take him off. I felt so badly for him. The poor guy, it's Marty's fault because he's the one who keeps calling, play Xavier Newman, play Xavier Newman. And the poor guy finally gets his chance.
Well, he traveled back with the team. So, and I'm not sure of a full update.
What point in the game did that happen?
It was in the second half, I guess, sort of in the third quarter,
Yeah, it was
maybe,
in the
I'm
second. It
thinking.
had to be in the second half.
Yeah. Why, did you give up on the game too?
I gave up on it. Actually, I was just watching the replay. And
yeah, I can't get.
I saw the highlights of the second half, so I knew.
Well, that took about 3 seconds if there were Jet highlights.
No, ESPN one. So there were pretty much no Jet highlights in the second half.
It was just so typical of the Jets. The minute he throws that pick, you could just feel the energy in that crowd. And you could see the Steelers like get all hopped up. They were all on their back heels, both offense and defense.
Right.
I've seen that scene before.
Again, the offensive line, I see teams increase the roster, and you look at the Jets and the Giants too, crosstown team, and it's just amazing the amount of injuries to the offensive line. And now we don't know about Elijah Vera Tucker. And
our biggest problem is the defensive backs now. That's way worse.
Right. But I think I mentioned that two of the guys, I don't know if I did mention, are coming back. Reed is coming back. He's got a little bit of a groin. He's practicing today, and Carter is coming back.
Okay.
I thought Carter was an ankle, but they said it was a back. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But, I'm looking at the depth chart, and I'm seeing like, Olu Fashanu, a number 1 pick. Xavier Newman, we don't know what's going to happen with him. You got Jake Newman there. You got Max.
Jake Hansen.
Jake Hansen. Yeah, you got Max Mitchell and Carter Warren. I'm not huge fans of them. I liked Max Mitchell 2 years ago at the beginning of the year. But at this point, Ray, would you activate these two for the games? Or, I don't know what if they're in limbo or what.
Right? I don't think, they're going to be a upgrade, if that's what you mean. Having them active for the game, that's fine. But, I don't think they're an upgrade over who's out there. As bad as Teron Smith is, I don't think Max Mitchell stepping in at left tackle would be a good thing. Now, for Shanu, I would like to see him get on the field. But I don't see any of our backup linemen as being answers to the problem here that I can see, unless they at least figure out how to run block, which we seem to not be able to do that anymore either. So I don't think so.
I've been down at Carter Warren, and if there's anyone on Jets Rewind, I think it's Ralph that stuck up for him a little bit, because he said, when he was at Pittsburgh, he was a left tackle, and then he injured his knee, and the Jets tried him at right tackle, and he was one of these guys that looked like he was on roller skates. So I'll ask Ralph the same question. Does it make a difference if they activate, Carter Warren or Max Mitchell? And keep in mind, Carter Warren, he was projected as a second-round pick till he hurt his knee. Then I guess they got him in the 4th round. But go ahead, Ralph.
Well, it doesn't really matter what until Fashanu gets on the field, those guys are not getting on the field, so it's irrelevant. And it doesn't seem like they're going to replace Tyron Smith. By the way, the one positive we can come out of with the offensive line is that at the beginning of the year, when we signed Tyron Smith, we were all so concerned that he was going to miss a lot of games. And aren't we fortunate that he hasn't missed any games? It's really great. And I'll tell you why, in all seriousness, why he doesn't miss games. Because I watch him on every play. I have one eye on him and one eye on our 40-year-old quarterback. And players do not power rush that guy. They all speed around him, and he never touches anyone, and he never gets into any collisions. So he's never going to get hurt. The only way he's going to miss games is if he catches a cold from the breeze of these guys running by him. Because, and yes, they should play for Shanu. For some reason, they don't like to hurt the feelings of the veterans. Like you were saying, the same baloney that he's playing well. He should not be in there if they have Fashanu. They spent a 1st-round pick on him. Let's see what the guy can do. At the very least, give him some experience for next year, because Smith's not going to be here.
I want to ask, Ray, talking about blocking, Jeremy Ruckert, I want to ask Ray if he thinks he's effective, but also a lot of times they'll put him in motion one way, reverse him the other way, and they'll run where he's right over the hole where he stops. Ray, is that too predictable? Is it getting too predictable? You know where they're going to run?
Well, I mean, if they did it every time, yeah, to be predictable. I don't think they do it all the time. I think he's in motion a lot and they go with other things. But if there's one thing I don't have a complaint about is his blocking. He's fine at that. I think he'd be more effective as a receiver if he got more chances. But this offense now is, I mean, it's almost hard to tell what they want to do. But I think I don't think it's predictable because I think they're running a lot more motion now than they were, and it seems to me those plays when he's blocking in motion tend to work a lot when they're to the outside. So
Right. All right, Ralph, I want to ask you this. Not that he's running like he did when he was the first 8 games as a rookie, but the last 2 games, I think one bright spot. I like the way Brees Hall looks. I just want to know your opinion on that. Is he kind of back to where he was, or is he getting there?
He's getting there. I think, when you get him out in space, he does have really good vision and he knows how to cut back. He's still on these pitches and these handoffs 4 yards back. He's still getting caught all the time. Can't blame him for all of that. I feel like his high-end, top-end speed is not what it was 2 years ago. I thought he should have gone all the way on that play. And usually guys don't get the angle on him correct because it looks faster than he is, but he doesn't look quite as fast. But he certainly was probably the one bright spot they had, at least in the first half last Monday, was it, or Sunday? Yeah, Sunday.
How about you, Ray? What's your opinion about Brees Hall right now?
I don't know if he's back, but yeah, he does look a lot better. But I think they're doing a better job of getting him out in space more. So he has some ability to break one and get some good yardage. I don't think they've done as much, here up the middle garbage that never works. And I think that might just, all that does is probably wear him out a little fighting for a yard or two when, on the outside he can find a seam and, hopefully like he did in that game, break a couple big ones. But I don't think he's where he was last year. Or his rookie year.
All right, Ralph, what is the date of the trade deadline? November 1st?
5th, election day.
Oh, election day. How can I forget that? All right, Ray, I'll start with
I
you.
want to forget it.
November 6th, is Mike Williams a Jet?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
There's just too much room, and they could actually possibly get something, for him. So you might as well take advantage of that.
How about you, Ralph?
I'm going to say no as well, and whoever picks him up, I'll bet he has more catches than Devontae Adams by the end of the year.
Well, I'm going to make it clean. So I'm going to say no. And I read this morning, I should have mentioned it. I believe the Buccaneers, both receivers,
Yeah, that's right.
are hurt. So that could be a landing spot. And I actually think he would do great with Baker Mayfield.
Sure.
So
that made me think, Marty, sorry to interrupt you. When you had said earlier about the Chiefs picking up somebody, I was going to say
DeAndre Hopkins.
Trying to finalize a deal for DeAndre.
And I was kind of surprised, that Tampa didn't make a move for him.
Right. Well, maybe it's not finalized because he read the papers too, and he's seeing if they can get more for him.
Yeah.
Or whatever. They're starting to go down like crazy. Yeah. All right. Let's do anything else before we do the game prediction. Ralph or Ray, anything you want to add? Okay. Let's go with the game prediction. We're going to start with Ralph as we travel up to his neck of the woods in a beautiful, is it Gillette Stadium, Ralph, at the Patriot Way?
Yeah.
With the great owner, Robert Kraft, and their Mayo, the coach, who came out and said the team is soft, that Bill Belichick wasn't.
Actually, the quarterback said that too.
Oh, the quarterback. And Drake May is playing better and better every week.
Well, yeah, and while the Patriots might be the worst team in the league, the Jets are right up there, and they're a much more dangerous team now than when they played them a month ago. So I'm going to say the final score is going to be 31-17. But I'm not going to say who's going to win.
All right. Ray?
Yeah, if we're going to make any kind of a comeback to make a run for the playoffs, it's got to start with this game, and they've got to make a solid win, and I think they will. I don't think they're going to blow them out. I think they'll win a game, maybe 28-17.
I'm going to say Jets 24-20. I'm going to say they're going to be down at halftime and actually overcome being down, which they looks like they haven't done in like 50 years.
You know,
Go ahead.
Rodgers had 2 straight games, the Minnesota game and the Denver game. He had the ball. He could take them down and win the game, and he didn't do it in either one. I have no faith in him anymore.
I know, but in all fairness, was it the Denver game? I believe that on Sauce Gardner. Was that the interception right in his hand?
I don't know. I think it might have been Minnesota.
Minnesota. It was.
Well, I mean, sure, there's a lot of people to blame, but I mean, that's what we got. We got Aaron Rodgers to like give us 2-minute drives to win games. We got Greg Zuerlein to kick field goals in the last 2 seconds, and when they don't do their job, you have to blame them for it because that's what we got them for. But of course, in a football game, there's a million different causes for a loss.
As bad as he's playing, and I agree, I think he's playing awful. Would you admit that he is making some plays in the 7 games that Zach Wilson could never make?
A few. I mean, Zach Wilson made a few really good plays in his 3 years,
Yeah.
I can think of a few in the Tennessee game his rookie year. And how about that Giant game? Those at the end of the game where he made those 2 long passes. All right, so he's about equal to. In 3 years, he's done about as many nice passes as Rodgers has in 7 games.
Right. By the way, Ralph and Ray, do we have any nominees where we just finished 7 weeks for the Jermaine Johnson Award for the worst signing of a free agent this year? Is there anyone that's up there for the Jets?
Jermaine Johnson? What are you talking about?
Trumaine Johnson. Is it Trumaine?
Yeah, Trumaine.
Trumaine Johnson. I mean, is Tyron Smith running away with that award, the Trumaine Johnson Award?
Well, they paid a lot less for Tyron Smith, but yeah, I mean, money aside, he's right there with Johnson.
Okay, there you go.
And also the running back from Pittsburgh was pretty horrible too.
Le'Veon.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell.
Oh, Le'Veon Bell. Yeah. Ray, any ideas of Trumaine Johnson Award, or is it Tyron Smith?
Well, I think Tyron is the clear leader at this point. That's for sure.
Right. I think last year Alan Lazard wrapped up that award. If I remember.
It's funny. You guys didn't watch the second half. There was one play, a big play. He hits Lazard over the middle, on a low pass. And I was like, oh, nice play. And then they show it again on replay. And sure enough, he's bobbling that ball as he's going down. And he just barely grabbed hold of it. I don't think that guy's made a clean catch in his career. It's really ridiculous.
You're right, but he must run the greatest routes because they always throws him the ball, and it's always catchable, which is incredible. All right, anything else before we wrap up this episode of Jets Rewind? Ray, Ralph, anything you want to add? Anything going on? Ray, who do the
Buckeyes play?
Buckeyes play? Because I know about 15 minutes from me down at MetLife, everyone's gearing up Saturday as Notre Dame comes in to play an undefeated Navy.
That's going to be a good game. And
a lot of fun.
I hope Navy wins.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ray.
That's all right. I'm used to that. It's kind of like the other team, like the Yankees or the
Who do the Buckeyes play?
You love them or you hate them. Buckeyes are playing Nebraska, I believe.
Do the Buckeyes play Indiana this year?
I think they do. As a matter of fact, I think that game is the week before they play Michigan.
Well,
So-
Indiana's better than Michigan this year, so I guess.
Oh yeah, but you know how they are about Michigan. So around here,
By the way, I hope the Jets don't draft Quinn Ewers. I don't like that guy at all.
No,
I think he's
he doesn't
going
look
nowhere.
like he handles pressure well to me.
No, if I was Sarkisian, I'd start playing Manning and gear him up for the playoffs because
Right.
I don't think
I
the
think
other
he'll
guys.
be in there by the end of the year, probably. I'm
Yeah.
guessing.
All right. With that, we're going to wrap it up as we're getting close to Election Day. I want all fans of Jets Rewind, please go out and do your civic duty and vote. If you're in a state that has a early voting, please go out and vote. I don't really care who you vote for. It's a great privilege and right in this country. So for Ray Clifford, for Ralph Schrager, Marty Schupak, and Ray's cat, we want to say go Jets, and until next time.